OpenAI launched O3 and O4 Mini. Now, other than the fact that they couldn't name a series of models for toffee, and perhaps that's something that these new models can work on, these new models are truly groundbreaking. They make an enormous difference. It's like the big leap from 3 to 3.5, or the big leap that 4.0 gave us in our models. These are truly exciting. And what I want to do today is dive in and let's find out what they can do. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's run down what the new features are of O3, which is now the flagship model for OpenAI, and O4 Mini, which is designed for speed and it is cost optimized. But of course, O4 will be a bigger and better model than O3. O3 is pretty good. I can't wait to see what O4 looks like. Okay, so in terms of context window, for O3, you've got a 200K context on the O3 Mini High variant and 128K tokens for O4 Mini. They're multimodal, so they can put pictures in, and I'll show you a bit of that. Put pictures in, and it will read the pictures and do activities around it. Very, very cool. It can rotate pictures, zoom in, etc. This is also OpenAI's first agentic tool. So it can use browse, search, it can run Python, it can do deep research, it can search files, it can generate images. So it will do that all within the model, and the model being able to generate all of those things and decide what it wants to use is a massive step forward. So this is Manus-esque. Not quite as broad in terms of the tools available, but we're getting there with O3, and it has a better fundamental model behind it. So absolutely competing with the best models out there. Okay, so in benchmarks, now, as you know, I'm not a big follower of the benchmarks, but from what I've seen, O3 is number one on the SWE bench, GPQA, code forces, lots less errors than O1, which was the previous strongest model. And O4 Mini does really well, particularly on coding. So ChatGPT, OpenAI, having probably felt like they were falling a bit behind Google, are back in the game. No doubt they're back in at the top of their game. Really, really fun to see, and really fun to see these big companies fighting it out with each other. Now, in terms of usage limits, so O3 not yet available on the free plan, but O4 Mini will become the default on the free plan. There's no published caps for the free plan. On the Plus, Team and Enterprise, on the O3 model, you get 50 messages a week. On O4, you get 150 messages per day for the O4 Mini High. And then on the Pro, effectively near unlimited on the O3, the $200 a month plan, so near unlimited and near unlimited access for O4 Mini. So if you need heavyweight reasoning or vision for R&D, then O3 is your model. If you want to keep your budget down and you want to do high volume chatbots, etc., then O4 Mini is your key. And if you're scaling via an API, then O4 Mini is probably the way to go. Okay, let's get into it. Here we are in ChatGPT. And if you go up to your model finder, you will see that you've still got O4, which is always good. It's been working really good for months now, but that's not your top model anymore. You've got 4.0 with scheduled tasks. You've got 4.5, which I think is going to be discontinued. Have a look at this video up here, and I will tell you what I've thought about 4.5. I think it just missed the mark, and really the first time that OpenAI had made a misstep. Anyway, it's going. And then we've got O3. Uses advanced reasoning. Remember, I'm on the Pro plan, so I've got access to O3. If you're on the free plan, you might not have access quite yet. I think it will come relatively soon. And then O4 Mini for faster reasoning, O4 Mini High, great for coding and visual reasoning. And then the old models, O1 Pro mode, GPT-4 O Mini, and GPT-4, which is leaving us on the 30th of April. So still a bit of a mix of things there to choose from. I don't really understand why O3 will be better than 4.0 in their naming format. I think they could really do they'd really do well with asking ChatGPT to give them a better naming format. Why don't we try that with O3? So I have created a prompt, first prompt for O3. The naming protocols for ChatGPT are so confusing. Please suggest a sensible approach to naming your models and be creative. I'm going to set that one going. Don't have to put in deep research or anything like that. It just starts doing its thinking. I should also say, I saw a tweet saying that the please and thank yous that people are putting in to ChatGPT are costing millions in computing power. Well, I'm sorry about that. Us Brits like to say please and thank you. Anyway, here we go. ChatGPT is now working, the O3 model, crafting sensible naming suggestions. And as you can see, it's searching the web. So it's doing web search. I didn't tell it to search. It has made that decision itself. And it is going through various incremental loops, thinking about what could be fun. And as you'll see, it takes a little bit of time. It's not the fastest model, but it's faster than deep research. So it's coming up with some naming frameworks. I like the fact that it's giving me all this information. I think if we actually press here, we can expand that information out. There we go. Why rename it at all? Sam Altman admits the current alphabetic soup is mock-worthy and says a rethink is coming in summer 2025. Can't come soon enough. Design goals, keep every name doing one job. Instantly signal the generation. Show a tier. Leave room for patches, stay short. Recommending the scheme. G, generation, tier, year, month. Simple names. GSC 250 2504, mainstream successor to GPT 4.0. GST, cost optimized June build. G4M, why this works. Plain visioning, it's dreadful. I don't want that. Maybe this is why OpenAI are having so many problems. Calendar code only, GPT 25.04. So don't even put the model number in. Capability symbols, 5-star, 5-star, star. Quite like that. Named families, like Omni, human friendly. I'm going to have to push it a bit further. So I said, come up with some new creative names. Excite me. Can it be creative? To be honest, that first prompt didn't suggest it was going to be very creative. I want something exciting. Suggesting things like Forge and Pulse, Quasar. Let's watch its thinking. There we go. Power nouns. Generation 5. Flagship Forge. Fast Cheap Pulse. 2025 Mobile. Quark. And then Generation 6. That'll be cool. Flux, Spark, Nimble. Snappy, fits UI buttons and CLI flags. Okay for programming. Works as a verb. Forge wrote this summary. Trademarks would need checking for each word. Get on with it. British engineering, heritage, lightweight. Also Swift, Spitfire, Jet, Balanced, Pioneer, Vulcan, Sentinel, Maxed Out, Merlin, Concorde, Britannia. I wonder whether they're going to name them after British things like that. Elemental series. Interesting. So FE, AG, AU, OG, Oganesson. Frontier Research Release. Whichever path you choose. All right, so it's come up with some more interesting things there. I quite like. It'd be quite nice to have Spitfire and Hurricane and those sorts of things. Although with those names, never quite sure which one is the most effective model. But I do like the idea of giving the model names some sense of what they're good at. Maybe we'll get O5 and that'll be it. It'll just be one model and all the other models will just sit in the background and it will use them as necessary. I think that's where they're going. That will be very cool. Okay, so let's give it something to get its teeth into. forecast the UK's 2030 energy demand, scrape the data you need, run a Python regression, plot the curve, then cite your sources. Let's see what it does. Okay, so it thought for 5 minutes, 19 seconds. It did 11 searches and looked at 19 sources. So it worked out what the question was. It struggled then to find the data that it needed. It looks like the download is too big. I might have to do something different. I might have to use GitHub because the file size was too hard. So it went to GitHub, got that. Might be simpler to use primary energy consumption data from Duke's table. So it found a problem, but it then went and searched somewhere else to try and solve that problem. Seems that retrieving a binary data set might not work, as a web run can't display binary files. However, another way could be to use our World in Data platform that went there, try and find the data, considering using the World Bank's data. You can see it goes through. Seems like web run might not handle a JSON file properly. Seems like using Energy Institute's statistical review of world energy data set might be tricky to retrieve. So it's having problems. It's having to solve its problems as it goes along. Gets the file. PDF doesn't seem to show numeric tables. That's no good. And earlier the tool gave us a small snippet of values from the data set, possibly from line 6 and 7. So briefly, it peeked inside the Excel file. Since the research results snippet was read by a crawler, but we can't replicate it, possible workaround is to use the ONS data set. Found a CSV link. Fantastic. So it found the data. So cool. Need to extract Great Britain row for 2005 to 2023. Can only do this using Python to fetch and parse the data set. We've got some information from Great Britain electricity. I can't fetch it directly from the web with Python, so I'll have to manually copy it. So it did. Need to gather the lines from the data set. It's doing all this work. There was no second prompt. Didn't tell it what to do. So it had the data. And then it created some Python code to do a regression. And there we go. Quick and dirty linear trend on the historic electricity consumption data implies to around 225 terawatts for Great Britain in 2030, roughly 20% below 2023. So it'll drop by 20%. Produced a graph. What it did, scraped government UK's electrical consumption by region, converted all consumption gigawatt hours column to terawatt hours divided by 1,000. Ran a simple first order linear regression in Python and projected the 2030. See the plot above. Then it gives me the pros and cons of why it did this, because that's built into my ChatGPT. I always ask for the pros and cons. Tells me what the trend says, how you might tighten this forecast, and a confidence level. And it even gives me a reference in APA style. That is very cool from one prompt. Okay, so next, as I said, it can do really cool things with pictures. So what I've done is copied a picture of where Mrs. Professor and I got married, and it was our wedding anniversary not so long ago. So I've copied a picture of that in there. There is no data on this picture. I've literally just taken a copy of a picture. So it hasn't carried over any data. I'm just saying, where is this? Let's see what it does. There's where our beautiful wedding was. Now, I also know where it was because I have been there and was there on the day. So it is scraping, thinking of searching for images. Now, I'd be surprised if it even got the right country. So it says, like to be on a Mediterranean beach. Seems like it could be a location in Cyprus, Greece, or another Mediterranean region. However, it's difficult to pinpoint the exact location. No distinct identifying features. So obviously it can see this pier. It can see this pier going out. See pier wedding venues in the Mediterranean. So it's doing multiple searches to try and find out about this wedding. Okay, so it thought for 3 minutes, 7 seconds. It initially went out and said, this looks like it could be a Mediterranean beach. Seems it could be Cyprus, Greece, or another Mediterranean region. However, it's difficult to pinpoint the exact location. There's no distinct identifying features in the image. There isn't. looked at the breakwater. It did a search for sepia wedding venues in the Mediterranean. Search didn't match, so it thought it could be Cavo Greco Cyprus wedding. It repeated the question, where is this? Provide a single photo with only one image. From that, you can only guess. We'll consider some clues like the Mediterranean-style blue water, rocky breakwater, and decor like barrels and a white canopy. Barrels and a white canopy, you order what you want on the day, so not particularly helpful. It noticed that there was English on the sign, so it was typical in places like Cyprus, Greece, or Spain. Had a look on Flickr, couldn't get the images. Search isn't yielding any great results. So it then analysed the image again. Looks like the vantage was a viewpoint by a breakwater. Calmer water might belong to a place like Ayia Napa. So it had a look at that. Still don't have a definitive match for the walkway yet, so it's looking again at different places. Looked at Konos Bay Sanctuary. Think the coral beach and its pier might actually match the walkway I've been thinking about. Ooh, getting warmer. Is it possible that it could actually be Coral Beach Hotel Pier? Seems to fit the description so far. How cool is this? Gone to Paphos Wedding Company. Okay, based on the images, it's going to plump for Coral Beach Hotel in Paphos. Pretty confident it's Cyprus. Looking at some images. And then it gives us a short answer. You're looking at a dedicated wedding pier of Coral Beach Hotel and Resort, Coral Bay, Paphos District, Cyprus. And that is where we got married. It's unbelievable. Just from that could have been anywhere, any bit of sea, any pier, any wedding. It worked it out from just the very limited data that I had there. So how did it identify it? Concrete jetty with boulders on either side. Hotel pier sits between open Mediterranean and a small harbour. White canopy, standard ceremony setup, which it is. Cylindrical white markers behind the altar. Visible in several galleries of the same value. So this was these things here. Can't really see it, but there's like a warning sign to show that the pier is there so you don't drive your boat into it. It saw that, gives me the coordinates, capacity to seat up to about 80 people, 80% confident, and it was absolutely right. And this might be the first video I do that gets a big smile from Mrs. Professor, as I found our wedding venue using ChatGPT. Very, very cool. Okay, so a bit of fun. Let's try and get it to do some predictions. So we're getting to the end of the Premier League season. Please review all the matches left to come. Make an assessment of the results you think there will be. Take into account injuries, fixture congestion, and current league placings. Will they be fighting to win or not? And give me your predicted final league table. See what we get. Okay, so it thought for 1 minute 36 seconds. So reset out what I wanted it to do. It needed to get the current Premier League table, so it searched. So it looked at Premier League table, Premier League remaining fixtures, Premier League injury list, April 2025. It also went to TalkSport, Premier League News, World of Football, and 3 others. Now, it wanted to make sure that it had the very latest information, so it went to BBC and Sky. Looked at Football Insider, Yahoo Sports. TalkSport article already provides good injury summaries, like Haaland being out, useful for predictions. Need to predict the outcome of each remaining Premier League match. There's a lot of fixtures with 20 teams, each having 5 to 6 matches left. That's potentially long, so categorise them as title race, European spots, relegation battle. Maybe use bullet points. I'm using a table from Transfermarkt, Premier League's official site. Okay. So it analysed, it then started writing some Python, going to manually gather the current points. So it's got the current points in here, there you go. And then it's basically looked at the games and said, add the points in. The tiebreaker will rank by points first and then use goal difference to split the difference. Newcastle seem to have a better goal difference. at +25, Villa at +6, and Chelsea at around +15. So I'll give Newcastle in 5th and Villa in 6th based on their current goal difference. Makes sense. That's the fight for European places. I address the user's request. I create a summarised prediction for each of the 20 teams. So Liverpool, their fixture list, Tottenham home, they're going to win that according to this. Chelsea away, they say that's going to be a draw. Arsenal at home, 11th of May, they say that's a draw. BHA, so Brighton Hove Albion away, it says that Liverpool will win that. And Crystal Palace, last game of the season, Liverpool will win that as well. And it goes through all of the games. Now, there was a game today and it knows. So it is absolutely up to date. It's not using old data. It knew that there was a game in today, and Nottingham Forest beat Spurs 1-2 away. Great win. Fantastic. And it's given us these comments over here. Nottingham Forest have got a thin squad. Not doing bad though. Cup momentum for Newcastle. No Europe injury list final. Goes all the way down. Tottenham, Son fitness cloud. Still need some points. Predicted table. So I could. Oh, there we go. I can push that across. Declan Rice gone. Creativity low. West Ham. Declan Rice has been gone a while. And this is what it says is the final table. Liverpool champions. I think that's very likely with 90 points. Forest in 3rd. Hurrah! Manchester City get up to 4th. Very cool. Newcastle, Villa, and in the relegation, Southampton, I think already relegated. Ipswich and Leicester. Spurs in 16th. Man United in 14th. Why I see it finishing this way? Liverpool have a kind of run in, no cup games. Arsenal must still travel to Anfield. Champions League places. Forest gentle schedule keeps them 3rd. City edge Newcastle. I'm not sure Forest got a really gentle schedule, but City edge Newcastle and Villa, even without Haaland, because 4 of their last 6 are at home and against bottom half sides. Relegation fight. Southampton are effectively relegated. Ipswich and Leicester look short of quality. West Ham's 2-point cushion plus matches versus Spurs and Ipswich keep them up. Confidence rating around 40%. How cool is that? Think about using this sort of reasoning in your own business environment, looking at your data, making predictions, taking into account lots of variables. It is very, very cool. Okay. That's O3. O4 Mini, I think, will be particularly suitable for those who are interested in coding. Not really my gig, and don't want to spend a lot of your time showing pretty ropey coding from me. There'll be lots of other videos out there that do that. But O3 is really a step forward. It is the first agentic model that OpenAI have produced. It's faster than deep research. It just does the research for you. It can use Python. It can use search. It's up to date. It gives you an output that's really sensible and effective. Yeah, it very, very positive about O3, and I cannot wait to see what happens when we get the full O4 and when we get O5, hopefully in the summer. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I love to be able to bring AI to you every week. It really helps me if you smash me a like, if you subscribe, and if you ring the bell, you won't miss any of my future videos. I've been the Professor. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you today. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now.